Hello, this is Mike. NoStressMike.com. I want to share my concerns with you about the new Trump administration. Uh, there's only right now, well, on the top of the list of major big time could be bad is I do business. I understand business. What I like about Trump is he's a businessman. He can negotiate. He can make things happen. But on the other side of that coin, and this is the part that concerns me, and it's not a concern that I have now. Now our country is so screwed up. It needs somebody to take responsibility. See, that's the main thing that's been going on with our country. I would say since Daddy Bush, and that has been no one wants to take personal responsibility. Everybody passes the buck off on somebody else. They just don't want to, like I say, it's not my fault. It's not my fault. And when you are in a leadership position, it's not my fault is not an excuse. And Trump understands that. So that's the one really good thing about coming in. I've talked about when you have if you're in a county and you've got drugs going crazy, corruption, violence, robberies, all this stuff is just going plumb crazy, you want a mean, nasty sheriff. You want somebody who's going to come in and do what he has to do. Now, that what he has to do may not be legal. Now, don't get yourselves all shook up. Say, oh, we got to stay legal, got to stay legal. Bullshit. They have created so many unconstitutional, unmoral laws. You can't do the right thing if you're going to try to be legal. And when your county is that bad, you need a sheriff who's going to come in there and do what he has to do. Now, the thing is, once the county gets cleaned up, you don't really want a sheriff like that. You don't want a sheriff that's going to, knock heads and take names and all this kind of stuff once everything calms down. So, I'm looking at it the same way for our United States government. What he is putting in positions, successful people. I would say most of them, I better not say most. The one part that does still kind of concern me is the politicians that he has put in to positions. I like the idea of the business people for now. And that's because every one of them will take personal responsibility. Now, this is where I'm going with on this video. What happens? I'm not a fond believer in big government and big business. I don't like them. And what we have now is Trump. And I'm not saying he's in big business because he's not the kind of big business that I'm thinking of. And I'll explain that. But it could get that way. That's the part that I'm concerned about. And but like I say, in government, you have politicians. These politicians, and you've seen this already. You've seen the way they talk. They say one thing, and then they turn around and do something different. A good example is how many of these politicians have said so many bad things about Trump, and then all of a sudden, oh, Trump's a good guy. Okay, one part of it is the negotiating skills of Trump. That's one thing. But don't give him all that credit, because he's dealing with worms, scum of the earth. And I'm sure most of you, if you were saying bad things about somebody and turned around and now you're saying good things about them, that would be hypocritical. More than likely, you're not going to say bad things about people. I've made videos talking about that. You shouldn't. But there's times that you need to be honest and upfront. And when you're honest and upfront, you don't just turn it around. It just doesn't happen that way. And so that's the politicians that are in office. That's why he's been able to, I would hate to say sway them, because he doesn't sway them. Like I say, politicians deal with greed, personal greed. That's what they want. If they can get some power to go with it, that's even better yet. So that's how you motivate politicians. And I'm sure that had something to do with the negotiating. Okay, because I'm sure these people, he didn't negotiate using like what I do. I get people in situations where I make them do the morally proper thing. Now, I can't do that to everybody, because some people just plain flat don't have any morals. And that's why I carry a gun. Okay, now, he is a good negotiator, so maybe he did have something to do with making them do the morally proper thing. Now, the next thing is, how long will they be able to do it? That's one of the other concerns I have. So he's getting these politicians in there that concerns me. Now, this other thing is these business CEOs and leaders in the business world. Like I say, I like it because they take personal responsibility. I don't like it because they represent, in many cases, big business. Big business is totally focused on greed, money. And now, hey, don't you all say, well, hey, we're exempt from all this stuff. No. If you own stock, you are part of the big business greed. And these CEOs and stuff like that, they only answer to one, and that is the stockholders. The stockholders demand profit. And as big business, they want people that work for them to be company people. They'll do anything for the company. And so they throw their morals to the side. That's one reason why many of them have gone to outside the United States to do business. They're not doing the morally proper thing by giving Americans jobs. Why? Because they focus on money. And to pull the profit, to make money, they chose to leave the country. Now, I'm sure, and like I say, seeing that you're a stockholder, if you got retirement plans and you got stuff like that, you are one of these people that demand profit. In other words, you deal with greed. This might maybe shine a little bit of light when I talk about gold and silver. I'm not looking for anybody to use greed as a motivation when I'm using gold and silver. I know that gold and silver is hard for everybody to understand, but it is. And the reason is, it's too simple. But the thing is, when you get these people, these CEOs and stuff like that in business, or the business leaders into government, they're going to learn how the government works. They are going to be planting seeds. They're going to be doing future negotiating. Now, I'll tell you, I'm really hoping I am way off on this.